Caution, a blind U-turn. We are watching the Amazing Race after show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
But I'm
feeling 22.
Everything will be alright. Happy birthday!
It's my birthday! Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Amazing Race After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I am Nataly Tavidian, and you can find me everywhere at Nataly Tavidian.
Ooh, very nice and happy birthday. You're obviously turning 22 today.
Thank you very much.
Very young. Well, I'm Dan Babic,
Forever.
and you can find me on the tweet at Dan Babic with an underscore after Babic, and on Instagram at Dan Babic. I like Instagram because I'm a complete Insta whore.
What's up, you guys? My name is Desola Balogun. You can follow me at Desola_B, DAYSHOLA_B. And you guys know I love to do the live chats and the call-ins, so make sure that you guys get in those live chats. And the number is up so you can call in. But disclaimer, if you're watching later on in the day, don't call in because I won't be here to answer it for you, okay? Let's get to the show.
Oh,
Sounds cool.
And before we get started, I want to introduce our very, very special guest. Thank you so much for being here. Season 27 winners, Kelsey and Joey, hashtag the reporters.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
It's our
Chime
pleasure.
in on the episode. We're going to start. Introduce yourselves. Where can people find you?
And introduce yourself with the news voice, because I love to hear the news voice.
It's funny, I'm also an Instagram whore, and you can find me at Joey_Buttitta everywhere.
And I am at Kelsey, Kelsey Gerckens, Gerckens on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me everywhere.
Mine's
the
way
same
too
thing.
confusing to spell, but you can Google it.
Four T's.
I'm going to say, Kelsey, I felt like I was in my car right now getting the live traffic update from you with your voice. It's so soothing, the 101, it's a crash again, so good, love it.
Slow go.
I like it.
And can I ask really quick, do you guys ever anchor together?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
we do.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, yeah.
You know how I could tell by the way you were looking at them, because I know that's one of the things you have to look at each other
Yeah,
and
you
kind
wanna-
of play
Like
off of
who's
each
going
other.
first?
Yeah,
Who's going to talk
exactly.
Glance
now?
at each other.
We're pretty good at talking over each other too. We try to take
all the
control
time,
sometimes.
We're excited
You
to
can
talk
tell,
Amazing
right?
Race, though.
Great.
We're so into this season, so it's going to be great.
Season
Absolutely.
27 winners.
Yeah.
How's life been since?
Life's good.
Life's good. Life's
Yeah.
really good.
We got
Since-
a dog. We bought a house.
Ooh.
We're getting
Got
married.
engaged.
We're engaged.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
this summer we're getting married, tying the knot, and it's been a great
It's the
ride
summer.
since.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. It's coming up. It's all official
yeah.
now.
Have
Down
you done your
payment
dress yet?
down.
Because I'm all about the dress.
Oh, dress is done, taken care of.
I know
It's
nothing
gorgeous.
about it. She's kept me out of the
Just
loop
shouldn't.
with the dress.
Did you go white or off-white? That's all I have to know.
It's all a
It's all a secret. You
Secret.
can talk later.
Can't
It's
tell
all
me.
a secret.
I know nothing.
What do you guys think of the season so far? This is the first time they've done something like, well, there's something similar to it with the blind dates.
Half and half,
but-
though. Like half
Yeah.
the people knew each other, half the people didn't. This is really interesting. I kind of thought The Amazing Race was a show where it mattered that you had a relationship with someone. This season, I think it kind of proves like it doesn't matter. It's just such a great show
Yeah.
either way, and that it's so interesting to find out if these people that have no idea who they are, they don't
If they
meet
mesh
until the
well.
finish line or the start line, and they may mesh, and
And
some of them are.
I mean,
am-
it's all about the money too.
And then they hate each other.
That
They hate
helps.
each other, yeah.
That
Yeah,
helps.
I am loving this season because I have to say this is the first season in a long time where I feel like everybody is playing to win off the
Right.
bat. Like nobody cares if they are burning bridges or how they're treating their partner.
They
Like they
don't.
all seem very competitive and they're
love
ready to win it. And I love seeing that because in season 28 they all kind of had heard of each other or knew each other because they were all the social media influencers.
Right.
So in the beginning of the season they were all buddy buddy, nice, I'm not going to use the U-turn type of situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, that
These
was not the
guys-
deal this episode.
These guys are going to get
That
into
blind
it.
U-turn this episode, that was the biggest
Yeah,
game
I
changer.
loved it.
It was
Yeah.
heartbreaking for me.
I
You loved it.
Well, no, I didn't love the fact of the team who went home, but I'm glad that Matt and Redmond were U-turned because they're starting to get to me a little bit. You know,
I
they're
love
starting.
that.
No,
I like
they're starting to
that.
like bother me a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I think
Yeah.
everyone's a bit too sensitive these days, and at the end of the
No,
day,
it's so
it is a
true.
game, and you're trying to do money and all of that. So that's why I loved when we saw in season 28 with the social influencers, they all went against each other in the end.
Yeah.
Because I found it very fake and inauthentic at the start. I thought just stop pretending. We are people. We're not nice all the time, and not everything's hunky dory. We can't all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But now with this group, I'm like, maybe hold hands and sing Kumbaya for a bit. Like, turn it down a notch, but I like it because I think it's been a bit fake in the past.
While
yeah.
you guys are in it, Desola and I were talking about this, where there's a lot of stress when you're working on the project,
Running the
right?
race, yeah.
Yeah. Are you thinking about the money while you're doing it, or are you just thinking about
You're really
that?
not. You're just thinking about the team that's behind you. That's the
Okay.
only thing you're thinking of.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you want to win legs, but you
Yeah.
just want to keep advancing.
Yeah.
You don't want to get eliminated.
You want to
So
see another
what-
country.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, whether you're the first person to finish a task or the second to last, as long as you're not the last one to get to that pit stop, doesn't matter.
That's fair.
I say that the Amazing Race, when you're on the show, it kind of ignites a part of you that you didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
Joey and I are very competitive people. We always like to finish first in everything we do. But being on the show like lights this new fire in you, at least for us, and made us want to do so much stuff that we never thought we could do before and do it best and get out of there first. So I feel like there's this new competitiveness with it where you just kind of get really excited and do things you would normally never do.
It's
What
more
was,
than.
what was a challenge you thought, like, this is something I would never have done in
Oh,
life?
I bungee jumped in Africa. Like I would
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that. She loves that stuff. She's the thrill junkie person, and I'm
And she
so
made you do
not.
it still.
Well, you know, you have to split up the roadblocks.
Totally, yeah.
Not everybody can do every roadblock, so you have to make sure you're kind of balancing them out as you go. It's just a numbers game at that point. But yeah, bungee jumped, and you know, she had to go down the in the hang gliding plane over.
Wow.
And you love
Victoria
that.
Over
Falls.
Victoria Falls. I am the adrenaline junkie, but as we know, the Amazing Race can sometimes be a little confusing. The clues, which we don't really realize on the show, they're not showing it point blank.
Yeah.
A lot of those roadblocks, they are for one person, and they give you one sentence, and you read that one sentence, and then you have to say, okay, I'm doing it or you're doing it. You don't know fully what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, for the bungee jump for Joey, I had just done 2 adrenaline junkie tasks. I thought the next one cannot be adrenaline junkie. This is going to be something athletic, strong, man, do it.
And you had no idea what was
He
next.
had no idea
Yeah.
he'd be. It was like, who wants to get their heart racing? And that was the bungee jump.
Could have been
freak
anything.
out?
I
So-
thought that about
you
episode
just gotta
2.
do
They
it.
had a build it or a beat challenge, and I thought the beat would be dancing, but it was not. It was
the
musical.
drum and
the beats.
Yeah.
the
No, yeah.
cymbals.
I was like, oh my god, I could not, because I've got no musical talent whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, I did singing lessons for 2 years, and I remember the singing
But
teacher.
can you dance?
No, can't do any- nothing.
Oh, okay,
No,
never
no,
mind.
no,
Then
yes.
you would have chosen to build.
Yeah, totally. And I love that you also giving something back to society as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I kind of love that. I'm like, if you can give back as well as make a fabulous show and become famous
Sure.
and travel the world.
And that's one of the cool
yeah.
things about the Amazing Race. They go into these communities that you know they don't know what these cameras are. They haven't seen this stuff before, and they give back. We donated money to an orphanage when we were in
Yeah.
Zambia and Zimbabwe.
That is
These
amazing.
guys, when we get into the detour, they were building desks. For
I
these-
love
For
that.
school
I thought it was
children. I
really
love
good.
that, and I loved how they walked in and had to learn about a new language.
Swahili.
Learn, learn a couple new words
Yeah.
over
So
there.
the show really it gives back to the places it goes, which is
It
one
does,
of the
yeah.
cool things about it.
Yeah, I
What
can't
did
fault
you-
it. Yeah, that's why I'm so obsessed with the show. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're making people famous, because we would love to be famous. It's great, it's fabulous, gives you more opportunities.
Do you, Dan?
Yeah, you're making people money, you get to travel the world, you're entertaining audiences, and then you're helping people at the same time.
It's incredible.
It's like killing 10 birds with one stone. I love it.
10 birds, one stone.
Yeah, not even 2, yeah.
So the challenge
He's
this
making me
week was
laugh
the
so hard, I
building
can't
it
keep
or
it
the
straight.
weaving it. What did you guys think about that?
So I missed that. I was too busy fixing my hair, fixing my hair.
So
What did you say?
they build tables for students.
Yes.
What did you think about that challenge?
Well, I-
You guys had a similar challenge at the very end. It
Yeah.
was it was building.
Adirondack
The
chairs.
Adirondack chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that a little
There's
bit.
no directions. I mean, you just
Yeah.
there's usually an example of something that is kind of how you want to put it together.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think they had an
It looks
example
like they
for
didn't
this.
have an example.
So this
They
was
didn't, they
literally how
didn't.
many IKEA desks have you put together,
Uh-huh.
and can you figure it out?
Totally, yeah. And that's what I love is because everyone kind of, as you probably know on The Amazing Race, I pretend I know because I like to think I know everything, but I don't. But everyone's not really, you don't really think, and that's why you can do, extraordinary activities like bungee jump because you're just going, you're running on adrenaline.
You don't have an option.
But I felt like it kind of made people take a step back and think, oh wow, like we're being paid to be on a show and travel the world, and then there are people that just want school desks.
No,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, I loved
Yeah.
it. So it kind of brought everyone back down.
You're very fortunate, and you even see that in some of these recent episodes where there are team members that are really taking in the whole experience, and others are a little more complaining their way through
Others.
the whole thing.
Hey, Shamir, how you
Name,
doing?
name and
Hey.
shame. Name and shame. I'm all about name and shaming. Who are the
Call
others
him
we're
out.
talking
No,
Call
about?
him
we're
out.
getting there.
We're-
Don't think you're off the hook.
Yeah,
okay?
we're gonna
This
do it.
episode is where the tension's really starting. It's the first double U-turn,
Sure.
and that's the first opportunity that teams have to give them that U-turn, so they have to do both the challenges.
Yes, and let's just say Matt and Redmond, they started off the show with cutting the line, which
Yeah,
Which,
they're,
what would
they're
you
starting.
feel about that?
They're starting to rub people the wrong way a little bit. I don't mind it. I mean, it's not necessarily. I don't think it's dirty.
You would have cut the line?
I don't think it's dirt. No, you're really not supposed to.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
there
That's why I'm
are. I
surprised
mean, there
that they
are
weren't,
rules.
like,
there are rules for lines, and especially when you're in airports and things like that. Like you can't mess with the
Like TSA
the
and
customs
Yeah.
lines and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Do they hold you
know,
accountable with things like that?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
They keep a
And if the
close
other
watch.
teams, the other teams usually do too. So these guys they're pushing it a little bit. It's not over the line yet for me, and I like both of them. So we'll see. They're a tough team. They're a really tough team.
love Matt and Redmond.
Same.
But
I do too.
the cutting the line.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Because
And then the
I
coin
feel
flip.
like the cutting the line, the
coin flip I had no
I have
problem
no
with.
problem with.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was
That was
kind
a
of
dumb deal for
Yes.
for
I agree.
Ashton
weird,
and
convoluted
Vanek to
issue
make.
that was never an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
But I did, if they cut the line on me, I would have been pissed. Joey and I probably
I would have
called
said
them out.
something for sure.
Yeah, same. I was
Yeah.
all for it, to be honest. I love it.
You did say something when.
Oh, I've
who was
said-
the team that was
yeah.
trying to take your cab?
Yeah, we had in
Yeah.
our season it was the paparazzis.
Yeah?
And I told them to get the F out and.
Good on you. Keep
Yeah,
it real.
so
yeah. I mean,
look,
it's-
you just
and-
got to
yeah.
stand up for yourself at some
Totally.
point, and that was the last leg of
Yeah.
the race.
And that's
so.
why I'm loving this season so much because I always use a social influencer season because I'm living in LA. We know everyone is like, oh, we're so nice. Hillary Clinton. Oh my God, I can't believe Donna was elected. So stressed. And really we are so lucky just to be living in America. So and then you notice when they all fall apart and then their true selves come out because
Sure.
when you're traveling the world and being filmed 15 hours a day, you can't hide. So I actually like this group that they're just being very honest and very authentic. So I'm going to say one of my favorite seasons ever.
Ever.
Because the social influencers, I hate it. They're just, oh my
More
God.
than the social influencers.
No, well, I like them. I hated the first half of the season, and then the second half of the season I loved because
It
you
grew
saw
on
their,
you.
their true selves. But at the start, oh my God, you're on YouTube as well. Oh my God, let's be best friends. It's like, fuck off.
You know who we've
Yeah.
been talking about a lot for two strangers to mesh so well
Yeah.
together? Team Fun.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
And this
They're
is the
great.
first time we saw them bickering.
She went.
Well,
she was mad.
It was.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
But that was
I
fair.
would have been pissed too. If you can't, there are two rules on the Amazing Race. Everybody knows the first one. It's read your clue. All right, that's like the most obvious of all of the
Read your
rules
clue,
on the
read your
Amazing
clue, read
Race.
your
Read your clue is like the first three. There's A, read your clue. A, read your clue. C, read your clue. The next one, which is like
Where's
A,
B?
B, it would be
Don't
passport.
lose your passport.
You have to have it on you
Can't
all
lose your
times.
passport. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
your lifeline. In order to
Yeah.
continue in the game, the only thing you even need is your passport.
Yeah.
So it's like that thing needs to be attached to you.
you
You
I-
can
Two
lose your
copies.
backpack, but not your passport.
Well,
you can lose
all your
you can
clothes.
leave
lose
your
everything.
backpack. You can
and
leave
people have done that.
everything.
People have just
Yeah.
dumped stuff and left it because it's slowing them down. But you have to have your passport.
Yeah.
And not only do you have to have your passport to race, but I mean you're stuck in that country until the embassy can figure out what the hell to do with you.
So then you're out.
You're done.
Yeah.
And like
I don't
Phil,
know how it happened. I don't know
I-
where they lost track
well,
of their passport.
they are so lucky, and I don't know if you want to get into it now.
I
but
do.
like,
I want to get into it. Yeah.
They were so lucky that they just happened to get that guy's business card.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They just happened to
go back to
find
the
like the
hotel.
most trustworthy
Tanzania.
cabbie
drive.
in Africa to bring back a passport. I mean,
I think
it doesn't
shows
happen.
though that their personalities and their karma and how
They're
they're
fun.
connecting
Yeah.
with people is paying off.
I was just
because
gonna say that.
how many people keep their cab driver, have a conversation, have fun, aren't stressed, aren't mean, aren't trying to like not
Yeah.
give him all his money and get his card and have this relationship to a point that they got their passport back. When does that happen? Like they
Totally.
literally
I feel like
had
those are one of the teams that are
everything on their
taking
side.
it in.
Yes.
They're taking in the
Yeah,
experience.
they're enjoying the whole
having
thing.
fun.
But he
They
has-
want to win.
And
They're
from now on,
competing.
he's not. Becca's going to hold on.
Well,
to
she
his
took them,
passport
she
from
was
now
not
on,
having it.
so. But that's a oh man. You
I
have to
would've-
have your fanny pack around you at all
Two
times.
rules.
And
Absolutely.
I just want to say for all of you guys at home, make sure you get in those live chats. And I want you to hashtag Quiche, Keesh. If you guys remember, that means hotter than hot, but still cool. So if all of you guys at home think you're hot, hashtag Quiche, let us know.
I actually know where
And
Quiche
that comes
started
from
Yeah.
Where? I've never heard of it
It's
before.
actually
start
part of an Australian series called Summer Heights High. And there's a character on there called Jamaican, and it was a man playing a woman. And it was a bit of a mockumentary.
Okay.
And she used to say that Quiche means
mockumentary.
beyond sexy because she's so hot, There wasn't
Okay.
a word to describe her and her friends. So she made up a word called quiche. And if you have a 3-finger box gab, which means if you can put 3 fingers in between your 2 legs at the top without your fat touching, it means that you're a quiche.
Goodness. I
You're
can
gonna
see what
translate
Brooke meant when she said I'm too
failed.
old for this.
Then that sounds
Yes.
like a Mean Girl kind of
So that came
show,
from
right?
Scott and
Yes,
Brooke, and they were
Quiche.
talking about that. Scott, by the way, will be here next week
Ooh.
joining
Yeah.
us.
Fun.
We have a
We have a
caller.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my god, I hope they're quiche.
Who is it?
Hello. Thank you for calling in to The Amazing Race, Season 29. Who are we speaking with?
Nope, we lost them.
Did the call get dropped? Whoever it was that called in, call back in. We want to talk to you.
Because I'm sure that you're so quiche, So bloody quiche.
Their
They
first time on a phone.
It was
so
the
you gotta give
quiche.
them
It
a
was the
break.
quiche. They called it. They were like, "Oh my God, I'm so quiche. I have to call in." All right. So, what do you guys think about? I'm going back to Matt and Redmond real quick, just
Yeah,
because
We can kind of walk through the whole
Well,
leg if you want.
The reason
yeah.
why I'm saying is because they didn't feel like they did anything wrong when they like lied about the whole last episode about sign
coin.
again or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then they were so pissed off at the fact that Ashton and Vank gave them a U-turn. And
that was a
Redmond,
given. That was a
but
total
Redmond
given.
was his personality came out, and I was like, ooh, like he was really like going for her, like yeah, Ashton, I'm coming after you, and I was just like, are you serious right now? Like,
Yeah, I mean the whole like you should be scared thing.
like that was a joke. It's like
I
stop
think
being
it all.
a douche.
I think it all
Come
came
on.
out a little. A little harsher than he
You
meant.
think it's
but
a lot of mind games?
I think the whole thing
Yeah.
is you U-turn somebody, you know they're
They're gonna
coming
be
after you.
pissed.
I would
Yeah.
be shocked if I U-turn somebody and they wouldn't be pissed. Like, what do you expect? Your whole thing is I hope they get out so they don't get pissed and then U-turn me.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fair game. If you've ever watched professional sports or played in any competitive sports, you
It
know
was bound to
people
happen.
trash talk and they are going to intimidate you
Happens.
as much
We
as
have
they
another
can.
caller.
Oh my gosh. Hello, caller.
Who are we speaking with?
Hello,
Hi.
Hey, baby.
Who are we talking to?
Eric.
Hi, Eric. Do you have a question for us?
Let's see. What were you guys talking about right just now?
Well, do you have a question, comment, or anything? First of
This
all,
is
where are
the
you calling
amazing
from?
Grace
We're
AfterBuzz
talking.
show.
Where are you calling from, Eric?
We're talking about
Canada.
the U-turn
Canada.
and Canada.
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 Ooh.
Canada. I love saying that.
What do you
Canada.
think about the season so far, Eric?
I actually think it's a really good season. I think the twist with the
The U-turn.
no, the people that don't know each other.
Okay.
I'm friends.
You like that?
I'm having,
I think he's cutting
yes,
off.
I really love this. It's a good mix of people. I think. I'm really sad that Seth and Olive went.
Yeah, they were nice.
Yeah.
Well, see, nice gets you on welfare.
Hey,
That's what I
Yeah.
would say.
they were
Yes.
the strongest team.
They were the
And
strongest
between,
team.
Between Matt and Redmond and them, like physically, those two were a good one to U-turn.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to expect a U-turn if you're them.
Completely agree.
If it weren't for the
And Matt
U-turn,
and
I think
Redmond
they
being
wouldn't
pissed
have.
off that they got U-turned. I thought that was complete bullshit.
I agree with you on that
What do you
one.
want him to do? Be like, thank them
Well,
for it?
I'm just saying the fact that he like played them and then got mad that they played him back. He can dish it, but he can't take it. That's how I
Yeah,
feel
I mean, you're
about
gonna get
it.
if you get U-turned, you're gonna be angry about it, and you just got to move on. And those guys wrecked both detours.
Yeah, which kind
Yeah.
of pissed me
Like,
off. I
wrecked
wish
them.
that they wouldn't have
I
done
think,
so well.
you know what I think? The U-turn just brought out their competitive spirit even more. They are competitors. They are in this game to win it, and that just added fuel to their fire, and that's why they destroyed. They came in fourth this leg, and the reason they came in fourth is because they got U-turned. They were ready to dominate.
It's fair. Eric, do you have a question for our guests who have been on the show? They know things that all of us don't know. So ask them a question that you might want to know, or something you want to know.
I don't really have a question, but I do want to say that Kelsey and Joey, I loved you guys on your season.
Thanks,
you
man.
were my favorite team, and I'm really glad that you won.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's nice
Thank
to talk to you. We're
All right.
glad we won too.
You guys too.
All right, great. Thanks for calling in there.
Thank you, Eric.
Keep watching.
Bye,
Thanks.
Keep watching, yes.
Bye.
Speaking of winners, Liz and Mike.
Okay.
Surprising,
Most
right?
underestimated team
Underrated.
of
Right?
this season.
Yeah.
I love it.
First episode, they come in 10th place.
Almost
Almost
out.
eliminated.
Almost out. And then first place the next
Two
two
in a row.
episodes. So
They
watch
work,
out.
They work really well together.
They really do.
And they kind of have a weird set of skills. Each of them they both complement each other perfectly, at least in these last two legs, where one of them can pick up the other where he may not be so good or she may not be so good. And they've been fun. I really like them. But you don't expect that out of them when you look at them. Just totally judging a book by its cover.
Yeah.
Which is the
Yeah,
best
I love
to
that.
not
Exactly.
do, right?
And I think what I like about them is because I like people, as I said, that are real, and I think they know that they're on a reality show. So I think they're playing up for that because they know we're making a show, and I want to keep audiences entertained. And I feel like they're
They
actually
seem
kind
pretty,
of, yeah.
pretty
They're
authentic
quiet
though.
I think they
compared to
seem
the
like
rest.
themselves.
They just
I mean,
argue
Yeah.
sometimes,
She's
but
an
it's
auctioneer,
fair.
right?
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting job. I want to hear her ramble
Yeah.
off numbers
Yeah.
off the top of her head. But
Going once, going twice.
Yeah, they're cool so
Sold
far.
to the highest bidder.
They're cool so far.
I like them. So we're gonna go to the live chat really quick, you guys. Jonathan Fang has a question. Do you guys think that bickering teams go far in the race? Yes or no? Like from
Well,
Let's
past
ask our,
experience.
let's ask our experts.
we did not bicker a lot.
Yeah.
You did
But the final three teams that we had on our show, two of them they bickered quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just has to do with how you overcome whatever you're dealing with at the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you bicker.
And I mean, if you watched season 28, the season right before this,
Yeah,
Dana and Matt,
they argued all the
probably
time.
bickered and argued more than any other team
Yeah.
in the entire season, and they ended up winning.
They won.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends how well you do as a team
And what works
through
for
the
you.
bickering.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Joey and I, we never got in a fight the entire time. We just worked well as a team and just got through everything, no drama, and just did it. But I mean, the paparazzi were with us, and they were yelling the entire
They were
time
bickering
during
the
our
whole
season.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends. I don't think it helps you.
No.
I think if you can go through the show without bickering and working well together, I think that's totally positive. Positivity helps.
Yeah.
Negativity brings you down.
I actually disagree with you. I think it depends on the person, because I remember the families, the family season. I forget what season that was. That was
Yeah.
that was actually my favorite, and it was they fought the whole, because obviously families.
Yeah.
And there's 4 of them.
Yeah, you can't-
are
you
going
can't
to
fight.
fight with the mum and dad, and
It's a different closeness.
It's a different closeness, and I noticed with that season that they actually were much better and more effective. The families that were not conscious of being on TV, because the families that were kind of like, oh, yes.
They know how to work together.
Son, that's okay that you told me to, go and F myself. It's fine. We move on. The families that kind
Totally
of
okay.
said what they wanted to say, they got over it, and then they moved on. But probably a personal thing, because
It's
I know,
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's okay to have a disagreement, but
Yeah.
there are times where you'll see it. It even happened like last season a lot, where they'd get in such a fight, they just stop.
Like they would stop racing.
Oh,
But-
no.
And,
Like
but that happens where they just stop. They're like,
Wow.
I'm done. You can never do that. Like the teams.
We saw a preview of that for next
Yeah.
week, Fank and Ashton.
The teams that fight, like our season, teams argued and bickered, but they
didn't
kept
stop.
going. They never stopped and just said, "Oh, we're done. This is it. I'm not doing it with you anymore." But you see that occasionally on the
Because
show.
they're
It doesn't help.
idiots. Who
How
like
did you
you're winning
guys-
$1 million? Why would you do that? I'm just saying, people. I feel like they really are not thinking. I understand you're in the moment, but you don't have time to
Yeah.
quit. Like that, to me, that's ridiculous. Remember, I made a point that in the first episode, or first and second episodes, there was not enough urgency for me from a
Sure.
lot of the teams, which
Like,
is
we're
why
rocking up your ass and go!
which is why a lot of them got sent home. Or the first team, the beautiful one, and then the long-haired guy, because
Yeah.
they were just like
Like
they
hanging
were just
out,
chilling.
we'll
just
get
like,
there
"What
when
are
we
you
get
doing?" You know what I
there.
mean? Like, no,
Yeah.
you never. I would never have that kind of attitude. $1 million.
Well, that's
Come
what's
on.
tough about picking your partner in a schoolyard pick'em. You just
Yeah.
you don't really know who these people are.
That's
You just
fair.
know who finished first in that
Right,
first
who
challenge.
can
yeah.
pick a suitcase is basically what they knew about the person.
Yeah.
So I think the teams have actually paired up kind of like there's
It's
some,
interesting.
There's some
It
odd
is
there's some
very
odd
interesting.
ones that still work together,
Uh-huh.
but there's more of them that are actually like a really good pair.
Yeah.
How did you guys keep your cool? Is that just who
Us?
you are?
I think
or-
it just comes with our personalities.
and what we
Naturally,
do.
we're very laid back,
Mm-hmm.
cool people, and what
We're
we do as a
cool.
profession. No, but like we're just very easygoing.
Yeah.
But we work under deadlines and stress. We're on-air reporters and anchors, so we
You have to stay
know
calm.
you can't be screaming and yelling while you're
Yeah.
live on TV. So we know how to stay calm under
yeah.
pressure. That's never
helps. It
been in
honestly
our
helps.
personality.
I was gonna say, was that in the back of both of your minds that we have a job to go back to?
No.
No,
Oh,
I
no, so you
don't.
didn't,
Honestly,
think, you
no.
didn't think about that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I cussed. I did what I normally do on the
Yeah.
show. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to show some of that stuff, but no, I was just myself, and people at work know me like that too. So it's not like
Okay.
it's not like it was going to be any surprise to somebody. I mean, you obviously don't want to come off like an asshole, but if you're not an asshole, then you don't have to worry about it.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
No, I
think-
think you guys kept it really classy.
Well, I think on the show, your true
Classic.
personalities come out.
It's going to come out
No
eventually.
matter
Yeah.
if you make it past like 5, whoever you are will be shown on the show. You're not going to
Totally.
be able to hide that you are this
They're
crazy
not editing you.
person.
The people that do the show are it's amazing. How the whole thing, how it works, is just incredible. Think about it. We went to 10 countries in 21
Wow.
days.
That's crazy.
It's
Wow.
unbelievable
It's
how it
insane.
happens, how the whole thing weaves together and becomes a TV show.
What
It's
was your
incredible.
favorite country though? What was your like favorite moment in your series, in your favorite country?
We really liked Africa, the two of us, and we were there for like 3 days because of just a long pit stop.
Yeah.
And it was
So-
just what we got to see, like baboons running across the street, and we did our interview on the river as African elephants were walking through
That
it.
is
Yeah.
incredible.
So
cool.
just the atmosphere, our atmosphere in Africa was the most out of body, coolest experience I could have ever asked for. So that's
Yeah.
why we
What's
love
cool about
Zambia and Zimbabwe.
What's cool about Africa legs on the Amazing Race is like like they're in Africa and they're in Tanzania right now on this last episode, and it's so different than the Africa that we were in.
Yeah.
Being in the southern part of Africa.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really interesting. This is more of a city, more populated, more bazaars and shops and things like that type. And we really didn't see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Ours was more like a safari, which was interesting.
Had you been out of the country before the show? Together?
No,
Not together.
No.
No.
I didn't have a passport before the show.
No way.
Yeah, so now
What
I've
an
got a lot of
experience.
stamps on the passport.
That's cool.
Wow.
So to the live chat real quick, Tanvi Maine or Man wants to know, how hard was it to hide the results of the show from your family and friends? And did you actually hide it from everyone,
Yeah,
or
we didn't
did
tell
you
anybody.
slip? No,
We really did.
We kept
Okay.
it a complete secret because you have to. I
Totally,
mean,
yeah.
why put that on the line?
Well, when
And
do you get the
for-
check? Because if I got $1 million, I'd be like, oh yes, it's
Not
Until
until
the end.
after it's
Ah,
all
so
aired.
all aired.
and
So like a year.
After all
So
that.
I'm really feeling for this
That's
group
terrible.
because
Wait,
Everyone
so I
has
wanna-
had to
You have to
keep
wait
this
for like a
secret.
year to get the money?
however long
Ours
it,
was like
it
8
is.
months.
So
These
you're
guys
sitting there
made it a
thinking,
long
okay,
time.
we're gonna get that money soon. We're gonna get like counting down the days.
I actually, they're my
Yeah,
Kelsey
we
and
used to work
Joey are
together.
my former coworkers. So I worked at KUIT before I moved back to LA, and we had gotten an email. You guys weren't around, and we got an email saying Kelsey and Joey are on a Euro trip, and everybody was like, "What?
That's weird.
They have,
Yeah.
that's interesting." Okay, now it's been a month. Okay, it's been.
That was our excuse. Our season, we were lucky because we had an open start. So the first day we left from Venice Beach, it was, they had it on CBS LA and Fox
Mm-hmm.
picked it up. And so people knew we were gone and where we were.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these teams, like people you can't say anything until
You
it
can't even
starts,
say you're on the
until it
Amazing
airs.
Race.
So
Yeah.
ours was at such a public location where it started that
Uh-huh.
they couldn't hide it because everybody was there.
Yeah.
So it was.
I
we were
always love
lucky.
that on Big Brother where people you just can't say anything and they're in the
Yeah.
Big Brother house and they're just like, oh, by the way, hi mum, hi co-workers, we're in the Big Brother house now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheers, yeah.
That's crazy.
I bet it was amazing starting at home.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be able to start near, where we live is really amazing.
And what have you done with the money? Because I get that a lot. One of the questions, what have you done with the money? Have you invested it, put it into a house? What have
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
you...
Yeah, we put a down payment on a nice condo for ourselves. Yeah.
Very nice, yes. 'Cause I mean,
$1 million doesn't go a long way.
Not-
LA,
too far in
maybe,
California.
Yeah. Maybe in Africa.
Well, they tax the crap out of you too. So,
Yeah, I was thinking
not
that.
complaining. We're happy to pay the taxes, but
Yeah.
it turned out
It's
well.
about half.
But
Yeah.
they take a lot from you. Yeah. So I mean, people think like we showed up back to work and they're like, oh, it's been
They're
so
like,
nice working
oh,
with
so nice
you.
working with you. Like,
guys,
we're gonna miss you. And I'm
we
like,
can't retire.
like, we can't just
Yeah.
not work anymore. Like,
that's
we're
a-
back the next day. Like,
We're still repaying our house repayment.
Yeah.
That doesn't rent the house outright.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
gotta
You're
keep
like
working.
maybe if we lived in like Indiana or something,
yeah,
right? But
Right.
not
possibly.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why would you leave California?
No, California's the best.
It is, I
It
agree.
is.
It's
Oh,
all
yes.
right. It's
It's
all right.
amazing. Money on the show. I want some insight on money because
Like leg money.
yes, and the episode today, last Thursday,
Yeah.
when we were watching, who was it? They run out of money, and she was like
It
bordering.
was
Yeah, Sarah.
Olive.
Sarah and
Wait,
well,
no, not
Olive.
too,
Olive
right?
had. Okay.
Was it Sarah? It
There's a
was
couple-
Shamir and Sarah.
Shamir and Sarah ran out of
Shamir
money.
was standing behind, and Sarah
Yeah.
was
You're
trying
right,
to get
you're
some
right.
money back
And
because
Seth,
they didn't barter
Seth and
that
Olive
well.
only had like
Brazilian
Brazilian
money.
money
Yes.
left. So there's a couple like they went home due to the U-turn and some of their
But they
own
also made
doing.
mistakes.
That's how we see it.
I don't
What were
believe
their mistakes?
they ran a perfect leg. I love Seth and Olive. I really thought
Very
they were going to
strong.
be in the final
Very
three.
strong.
They were one of the top three
I think
teams.
a lot of people would agree.
And that is why they got U-turned.
Yeah.
And they kind of got dealt a bad hand. Joey and I were kind of upset because this blind U-turn was right at the very beginning of the show.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
everybody gets
It's really a cab
bunched
ride. Whoever
up.
had the best cab got to the U-turn board first.
Yeah, they got bunched
Yeah.
up on this ferry all at the same time. So it didn't matter if you were in first or last, the last leg.
Everyone was on the same
Everybody's
plane.
on the exact same ferry. Then it's literally a cab race to the U-turn board. So it really
that's fair.
But it's
Well,
so rough
think about
because
this,
it's not
so-
in your power.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
nothing's
Well,
in your
they
power.
were yelling at the cab drivers, and
We
cab
would-
drivers were passing
In
one
a,
another.
in a perfect world, a U-turn. I mean, the producers they have their reasons for doing things a certain way. But in a perfect world, a detour or a U-turn would be in between detours.
Yeah.
So
So-
you finish one detour, you
Yeah.
you choose what you want, and then you're running to get your next clue, and there's the U-turn board. So you at least have to complete a task instead of it being a taxi ride. And that Seth and Olive just got a
Normally
bad
you
cab.
have some power.
Yeah.
Like normally you have some power to like save yourself for a U-turn board. But this was literally a taxi ride, which could have been anybody's game. That's how it was. Seth and Olive ended up arriving last
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the U-turn board.
But hey, Matt and Redmond got the same crappy hand
know.
dealt to them.
But
That
that's
just
life,
shows how
you know,
good
what,
they
yeah.
are.
They
What
killed
happens
it.
with, we can't control what happens to us all the time, but it's what you do with
Sure.
what happens with, happens to you. And that's what I liked about you guys is you obviously, everyone has their day that it's not so good and not everything goes their way. But with you guys, it's okay, we've had a setback, something's gone wrong, out of our control, but let's move forward and let's not focus about what happened and let's just, move to the next task. Whereas I felt like they were almost victims of their circumstance and let it kind of hinder
Well,
them.
no, actually, Olive and what's his name, Seth.
Seth and all,
They actually, Seth said, "Oh, it already happened. Now let's move
Yeah,
on."
they moved
so
on.
they
I
didn't
feel
They
like-
made a
dwell
couple.
on it.
They made a couple mistakes though. For us, we always
Yeah.
exchanged our money to the country that we were in, or American dollars. People always take U.S. currency unless you're in like Europe
But you
or something.
always get a better value when you're doing the Amazing Race and trying to not get cheated if you have their currency.
Yeah.
Because if they're trying to like, oh, it's 10,000 this, you don't know the exchange rate that
you
well.
saw it. You saw
You
that
don't
with
know how to-
London. London was giving people like $20 for 4 tomatoes, and
Yeah.
that's why they're running out of cash.
Yeah.
So Seth and Olive not having the right currency really hurt them. And then when they did finish the roadblock, they decided to run. And it might have been because they were out of money, but they decided to run instead of take a cab. And that's usually
I don't know what
It's
fatal
a bad
flaw.
idea.
Yeah.
Bad idea. And we learned that time and time again by watching teams, and we were victims
did it a
of
couple
it
times,
a few
yeah.
times.
I like that number one tip. If you're on the Amazing Race,
You're waiting
never
for
Exchange
run.
your
Take
money.
the taxi.
Oh, yeah, take the taxi.
the taxi.
And know where your passport is.
Because you think, oh, I can run there. It's going to be faster, or we want to, But really, that taxi, 90% of the time, we saw it time and time again, gets you there faster.
Yeah.
I know they were out of money, but I feel like if they would have exchanged their money at the airport,
Yeah.
they had been at the airport
That's
for a
dumb
long
not to do
time.
that.
Well, no,
Yeah.
one of
They
the
would have been in a better
But
situation.
there was also a lot of bartering.
one
Yeah.
of the teams
Too.
did
Always,
ask
yeah.
for a ride for free. I don't know
they
if you
got
guys
it.
Yeah, they
remember.
got it.
Yeah,
And
they're
I-
like, "Can you please take?"
Shamir and Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked out. Shamir and Sarah, we have before the show's up, we have to talk about you because everyone is thinking it. I have to say it. I feel really bad for Sarah because she is trying. Like she is trying so
Yeah.
hard, and her teammate is just not working with her at all.
Yeah,
he complains
that's
24/7. He's like, "Oh, I have a splinter. Oh my god. Oh man. Oh, the splinter. Like
I
just
was
going
giving him the
insane."
benefit of the
you
doubt
were,
at
but
first,
I told
but
you
he's
like I can
complaining.
see it. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's trying. Like she's trying so hard to be positive.
I go insane.
Because I feel
Yeah.
like if it was
You would
me,
go insane.
I would be arguing with them back, which won't help. But I'm just saying.
She's,
so-
She's trying very hard
She's
not
a saint.
to.
She's a saint so far. That's tough.
So far.
That's tough.
Sarah is an angel because
Yeah.
she is trying so hard, and she is literally. I love the one part where they are wading through the water to get to the boat, and she's like, "Okay, hold my
She
hand."
grabs his hand to
She
take
grabs
him out.
his
Yeah,
hand to
yeah.
pull him through the water because he's getting stuck in the mud. I felt like everything was like for him. He just complained about everything and
Yep.
everything, and it's like, I know the Amazing Race is hard. We ran every leg of it. It is a hard, tough
Tough.
thing. But I broke my tailbone in Macau when we were doing the
Never,
Super
she
Display
never
show.
complained once.
Yeah.
I never even mentioned
Wow.
it to the camera
So-
because why? I spent the next 4 months on a little inner tube because I couldn't sit after we got home.
Yeah.
What?
But why would I go tell people, oh my
That's
God,
why you
my
won.
tailbone, why
Yeah.
am I,
So-
oh my God,
Yeah.
this hurts. Why would you do that? We are racing for $1 million. Complaining is not going to
and
help
they're going to
you.
use it against you also.
And
Obviously.
it's going to make you look weak. It's not going to make you look like a good competitor.
And me complaining to him is not going to make him run faster and me run faster. It's going to make him be like, okay, let
Are
me
you
baby
okay?
her.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. We wanted first every leg. Like, why would I ever let that happen? So
That's what I'm talking about.
I find it frustrating for Sarah because I couldn't even imagine being in that position.
Totally.
And just having somebody complain about stuff. I understand things
Mm-hmm.
hurt. Joey and I got injured several times on the
Get
race.
nicked up a lot.
I was like, at times, I got shin
People
splints,
start getting injured
and I was
real
having to
quick.
like
Couldn't even
stretch,
run.
and I couldn't
Yeah.
run. But like, I ran through it, and it sucked, and it hurt,
Totally.
and you just go.
But you got $1
you
million
go.
at the end, so it was worth
I'm like,
it.
because
Yeah.
you have your
Exactly.
eye on the prize, though. That's
Exactly.
the point. Like, Shamir obviously is not thinking about the prize at all.
I think some
He's
people just deal with like an adverse situation or deal with pain differently.
Totally,
and, you
yeah.
know, his is maybe, I don't think he sees himself as what he is on TV.
He will now when he's watching it back. He'll
Well,
be like,
and
oh my
that's
gosh.
and that's the thing. And then
Yeah.
people try to blame the editing or like
No,
they're not editing you a certain way. This is what it is, and it's
This is
it's a
who
rude
he
awakening
is.
for some people when they see themselves on national TV and they're kind of acting like a dick.
Yeah.
It happens.
Wake up
Okay, I
call.
was gonna say this though when it comes to editing because I mean I'm sure you've all done editing. We've all done some type of editing before. Now, if I'm a producer and I'm seeing a pattern, I will play up on it a little bit. So the thing is, we know that in every interview or there's a scene of someone
Sure.
saying, "Oh, I'm tired" or something. But when we think about it, they're gonna play up on the fact that he does it all the time. So I'm going to assume that every episode they're going to have something of him complaining just because,
Yeah.
you know, because if you're
But
filming
he is
all
calling
day.
the
But you have to
paramedics
do
and he's
it
getting
in
No,
order
of
for it
course.
to air.
No, of course.
And I
of
think
course.
people blame, and not just this reality show, people
No, it
blame
happens everywhere.
editing
For
for
everyone.
like, oh, they made me the villain. They made me look bad. I'm sorry, but you have to do that in order for them
That's
to air
fair.
it.
Totally, yeah.
Like, if you don't want to look like a wimp, then don't complain.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they can't create a wimp out of you unless you're complaining. So I think people blame editing all the time.
Totally,
oh,
yeah.
I was edited this way, or oh, they wanted us to be the villain,
Yeah.
or they wanted them to be the sweethearts.
Someone has to be. Someone's going to be
You
the good
have
one and the bad one.
And people,
have
and
to
people
do
get,
that.
and not to downplay, I'm sure his nuts were hurting him when he was hanging on that,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, that scaffold.
But everybody else
dropped
said the
down.
same thing.
Everybody else did it.
But
I
to
mean,
stop and
so-
go into the ambulance,
I know.
like, stop.
And we weren't
Like,
there.
come
It's
on.
hard to throw the guy under the bus, and I'm sure that's what he feels like when he watches all these shows. People are
But so
talking
what?
about
You know,
it.
when you're on a reality show,
But,
you know what you're
you know,
getting into these
We'll
days.
have him on
yeah, like
someday.
back in 10 years ago
I
when you
hope
went on.
so.
Yeah, I hope to meet him. I really do.
Shamir, please come on the show. We
There-
really have nothing against you. We're just speaking of what
We
we're
have
seeing.
questions.
They're a strong team, though, and
Yeah.
if they keep finishing things like just barely because they're kind of bickering back and forth through it all, and they have to wait for him to kind of pick himself up, and she's really the force behind that team right now. So I think they could end up going a little bit
I
further.
really don't think they'll make it much further because it's a pattern.
I agree.
because of the
Yeah.
negativity.
If this had
Yeah.
happened in one episode and then we move past it,
It sets up.
cool. Okay, they can make it really far. But when it's a pattern and it's continual and they're not overcoming it, I really do think they're going to be out within the next couple episodes.
You know what I'm
because
thinking?
Hey,
And Sarah's tough.
on that note, before we get into predictions,
But, okay, real quick, what do you guys think about, since they did team up with random people, for some reason I feel like they're going to, do you think they'll give people a chance to like switch teammates or anything? Or you know,
I don't
or
I don't
what
think
do you
so.
think? Is
I
this
don't
that
think
kind
so.
of
That would
no,
be
you don't think so?
unfair.
Okay. They just thought
I
about it
feel
because
like
a lot
that
of
would
shows
be
they do
unfair.
stuff
Hey,
like that.
you never know.
it's an
Can
interesting.
you imagine though if they did
You
that?
never
Like,
know.
okay, the top two teams or something. If you guys want to switch partners, or I don't
think that
know.
would-
Like,
yeah, I just don't know.
that would be
Yeah,
crazy.
you never know.
By the way, big shout out to Vanek for finishing that roadblock. That is a very like people personality task to try to go people and get help to
rocked
find
it.
these things that you have no idea what they are. And he doesn't come off as the most like people person.
Yeah.
He did awesome.
And he
So-
got $1 from the
and
guy.
and he got $1 back.
Yes.
But he did a great job, and you
He
don't
rocked
see
it.
him as being that type of person who can go out there and do that and really interact with these foreigners, maybe don't speak the language, and he did a great job. So
Totally, yeah.
big ups to him. And,
We just had a
and
question from Tanvi Main, I think it is.
Oh,
Sorry
let's
for
see it.
responding. Let's see, Tanvi Main. And they said, how was it without social media for a month while filming?
That was great.
Yes.
It's
Liberating.
freeing. It's
Yeah, yeah.
freeing. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you really liked it for real?
Yeah.
seriously.
Okay, I didn't know if you bring
You know what? A
sarcastic or
month-
not.
no
A month
phone, no
away,
social media.
They take your phone, they
Yeah.
take your credit
What about
cards. take
news? Were
everything.
you reading papers? Were you keeping
You
track
see-
of what's going
you
on in
see
the world?
things, you see things when you're at a train
Here and
station or
there,
at an
you know.
airport, but not really. I mean,
It was nice just to
We were out of it.
really like take everything in
Yeah.
without your phone in your face. You're like seeing it with your own eyes.
did watch a
and-
lot of like CNN International because that's the only thing you can understand when you're in wherever you are. So
Did you feel like
Did
you were
you
like
guys-
in 1965 for a minute? You know what I mean? With no phone or anything?
I'm jealous. That's
I don't
what
know.
I
I wasn't around in
loved it.
1965, so
Yeah.
I loved it.
it was honestly it was great. It was nice to just put it away and get it back at the end. It was
And your
awesome.
family, because I mean, my family would know. Especially my mother. She would be like, "You're on The Amazing Race." I know. Like, did people guess that?
Well, people know
Yeah.
you have to get something signed from your immediate family so they know where you are.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
good.
And they actually do call your family and let them know that you're alive. And
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
all.
you don't communicate
No,
with
we
them.
have you have no communication with your family.
Okay.
But the production team just lets them know that
They're keeping them posted.
You didn't get killed in a
Great.
horrible bungee jump
Just to let
accident
them
in
know
Africa.
you're okay.
So they just say, hey, Joey is mind and body
Alive and
able.
well.
Yeah, it's pretty much
No
it.
injuries.
Not
Yeah.
dead yet. Yeah, maybe next
Maybe
week.
a few
Yeah.
scrapes
So
and
that my
bruises.
mom always looked forward to that Tuesday call. That they would like let them know.
I have to say, I am so sad to see Team America go, though.
Yeah.
I really
They're good.
am. I'm really sad to see Team America go. They were a very good team, and it's sad to see them go because I thought they were fighters and they were going to do great.
It's a great
I
U-turn.
thought they would have won this show if it wasn't
Yeah.
for the U-turn, or have gone pretty far if
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
for that.
Is
U-turn
that like a
today.
plug to predictions? I feel like what are we all predicting?
I was thinking that
Yes.
too.
Give us some predictions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go into predictions.
My favorite theatre show.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Who's going home next week?
I don't know.
Let's start with our wonderful guest.
Let's
I
start with
think.
our
Yeah.
guest. What are you guys predicting?
I feel really bad for Sarah, but I think Shamir and Sarah will go home. I think, okay, Next week, preview is a double episode.
Yeah, 2 hours
It's
next
4
week.
and 5. So my prediction, I honestly have no idea. I think it'll be kind of like a non-Elim continuation
Yeah.
with the double episode.
I love the way you say that, like you're so, like, you know, you've done it before.
A
Amazing Race.
And I
not
bet-
Elim, not Elim.
I think they probably stay either in Tanzania or somewhere in a country right around it. They stay in Africa and for the first one, and then they bounce somewhere else.
Yeah,
Probably
so,
Europe.
So I think it'll be a non-Elim, but I see them kind of the team that's like deconstructing themselves and kind of falling. So I do think Shamir and Sarah will be the next to go. I think that I have been very impressed with Michael and
Liz.
Yeah. I think they're
Yeah.
doing great. I don't think they'll come in first next time. I think they'll come somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think Matt and Redmond have a chance of coming in first, but Matt and Redmond are rubbing people the wrong way, and I think that's going to be trouble. I think they'll get U-turned again. I do not think they'll win.
And there are 3, they've already had 1, so there's 2 more blind double U-turns that are apparently coming this season. So, and you have an unlimited U-turn. In our season, you can only use it twice.
You can only use it once.
If it was a blind one, you could use it.
Normal.
So that really changes things up because it could really throw anybody just to the wind.
Totally. Ooh, now what are you thinking? Tell us your predictions.
I agree that Shamir and Sarah are going to be in danger next week of going home. I think Matt and Redmond will probably win the episode. I think they're just so pissed off that they're going to be flying through the whole thing. And I'm going to say that it's either London and Logan or Vanek and Ashton that fall next week.
Ooh, I like that. Natalie.
I think Team Fun is going to go pretty far.
I agree.
Yes.
They've been 2,
They're in our
5,
top
and
3.
8th. Yeah. And I think they only got 8th place because of rule number
passport.
2.
Your passport.
Rule
Yeah.
number 2, do not lose your passport.
That's not even a rule. It's just like one of those
Just like a
omniscient
given.
It's a
things
given.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to go pretty far. I don't know. Liz and Mike, first place, 2 episodes in a row. I think they're going to go pretty far too. And I'm excited to see some more of the bickering, sorry to say. But
It's a reality show after all.
Yeah. So we're going to see some bickering with Vank and Ashton. And then we'll have Scott on the show, so we'll have a lot of questions for
Well,
him
who do you
next
think's
week.
going
Yeah,
home
who do you
then?
have
Who do
going
I
home?
think? Ooh,
The hard question.
this is a tough one. I'm with you, Kelsey. I think Shamir's going home.
Do you know what's so funny? I've been calling
Something about the negativity.
I've been calling them Cherie. I'm like, Cherie and Sarah are going home. I feel bad for Sarah. But I'm with you. Mike and Liz, they've got it. I feel like
They're
Very
good.
good. They're
they've
doing
got it.
very
On a hot
good.
streak.
They are, and I think what they're going to do, which I was going to ask you earlier, is because they have won and because they are seen as a threat now, they're going to pull back a little bit and make sure they're maybe not coming first, but mean the second, the third, the fourth, so they don't, they're not perceived as much as a threat.
But you don't really know when you're going with
The Amazing
it.
Race is one of those unique reality shows where
You can't play the game as
an
much.
alliance
Yeah.
an alliance is nice, but it's not like Survivor or
Okay,
Big
yeah.
Brother
Yeah.
where you need votes.
Yeah,
So I mean, if you can roll through legs and
I think you
avoid,
just got to
avoid
keep
U-turns.
friends. I think that's
Yeah.
where Matt and Redmond, I think they'll do very well, but I think one of those U-turns is going to get them
Yeah.
because they're I don't mind it. I
Yeah.
think they're playing a fair game, but I think they're rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh, what are you thinking? I love it. I love predictions. This is my favorite.
I think that I don't think you can really predict who's going to go home in this game only
Yes, you
because
can.
well,
Cherie, bye-bye.
well for certain people, but I feel like overall,
Seth and Olive, who would have thought?
none of
yeah.
the teams are really like bad other than Shamir and Sarah, and it's not even Sarah's fault. That's why I feel really bad for her because Shamir just sucks as a teammate. I mean, not as I don't know as a person,
You know what's
but
good
as a
though?
teammate,
Like
he sucks.
He's a really strong dude. So if there is
He's
like a
buff.
physical
He
challenge,
hasn't shown any of that.
you
that
would
strength.
think that he would be able to. I thought it was really funny when they were carrying the
I was gonna
desk.
He's not
say.
They
complaining
were
about
carrying
it.
the desk. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, and he was like blaming her, and I'm like, you told her to go behind you in case you forgot. So, anyways, so I will say I don't really know who's gonna go home, but I do feel like if I had to say anyone, it would be Shamir
Yay!
and
Woo!
well, and Sarah. I don't want
So
Sarah
we're
to go
all in
home,
agreement.
though.
We
That means
might
they're
all be
definitely staying.
surprised.
Well, I want Shamir to go, but not Sarah because I feel bad. She's so
Oh.
like she's handling herself so well, you know.
I like what Kelsey said. She's an angel.
I mean,
being an
so
angel.
far, like what you said, so far we don't really know.
She might
but-
be the biggest bitch of all. You never know, because we're only
Well,
Damn.
I hope
She
before,
seems lovely. We
I
have
hope
no
she
idea.
snaps on him if they do get sent. I hope she
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
goes ham,
Needs to
like,
put him in
are
his
you
place.
kidding me? You know, because it's
Who
his
do you
fault.
guys have winning?
Liz and Mike.
Winning the whole thing.
Yes, I'm Liz and Mike. I'm with
Okay.
them. Yep. Hashtag I'm with them.
I think it's too early.
I'm having Becca and
You
Floyd.
think Becca and Floyd?
I love
Yeah, I
them.
think-
They're in my
I
top
think
about
they're
them.
who
Sure.
everybody wants to win, but I don't think they'll win. I honestly think there's a few teams we barely even mentioned.
True,
Joey
yeah.
and I were one of those. The first few episodes barely got mentioned. I think it's one of the teams that we're not really talking about.
Yeah.
They're kind of
Brooke
in
and
the middle.
Scott,
of the pack.
maybe?
Yeah, Brooke and Scott.
I think
Vank
it's
and
Brooke
like
Ashton. I
Vank and
wouldn't be
Ashton.
surprised because they're working
Tara
well
and
together.
Joey.
Tara
I
and
don't
Joey.
even think we mentioned.
We haven't
Tara
talked
and
about them the
Joey.
whole time.
Totally.
I
So-
think second place.
Wait,
I think
who's
Tara
the-
and
which one
Joey
is-
will get to the final
The
three.
cop, and she's in the army.
They're the
So,
mom dad team mom
Oh,
dad.
yes.
Mom and Dad.
I forgot about them.
They're
and
great.
she's the one
They
that says that.
U-turned.
They're
Yeah.
really fun.
They U-turned the team that went home.
But it's
Yeah.
good. They're just laying low and playing the
They
game.
did. They U-turned Seth and Olive.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're playing
hard.
the game.
They're
and
ready.
I
They're
think
just
they're
flying
really
under the
good.
radar.
It's gonna. You're right though. It's gonna be one of those teams
It's
that you're
one
not
of the
seeing a lot
teams
of.
that we're not talking about. I put my money on it. That's one of the teams that's going to win.
And
Look out for
Tara even
Quiche.
said they think I'm just a mom.
I think they're a tough team. I think they'll be in the final three. I think that Scott and Brooke will be in the final three. I think Becca and Floyd will be in the final three. That's my top three.
I like Scott and
Okay.
Brooke, yeah.
Well,
I'm
we
with you.
shall see.
All right, talk to Scott next week and see what happens.
Yes.
We'll keep
Yeah.
you guys posted and stay tuned. Join the conversation with us. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Hashtag the reporters.
Thank you, everybody.
very much for,
Thank you
being,
guys for
here,
being here.
Kelsey
Yes,
and
yes.
Joey and everybody. You can find me everywhere at Nataly Tavidian.
And you can find me on the Instagram at Dan Babic and find me on the tweet at Dan Babic with an
The tweet.
underscore. The tweet. I love it. Tweet.
You can find me everywhere at Desola_B everywhere. Where can they find you?
And our guest.
I am everywhere at Kelsey Gerckens.
And I am at Joey_Buttitta, Buttita. It's very confusing. There's a
got it,
but,
we
there's
got
a lot of T's and I. You can Google it.
We'll
Yes.
tweet you all
Thank
out.
you,
Thank you
guys.
everyone for joining us.
Thanks for
Bye.
watching. See you next
Hey,
week.
Natalie, happy birthday!
Yes. We're gonna eat
22.
brownies and banana cake after
Yes,
this.
yes, absolutely.
Banana
Thank you
bread,
very much.
actually.
Ooh, okay.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.